Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech doing a top 10 list for the best commander cards in the Simic Guild. As you guys all know, my criteria is pretty easy. Things need to be worth less than $20 so they're accessible to most players. They also really need to create interaction or fun for players. No combo, no things that just lock people down. These are all cards that I think are incredible and could easily make it onto a top 10 list, but I'm going to try to dive into a few more original cards. Each of these cards are extremely powerful. They're not too powerful to be banned, but they're the type of Simic cards that I would watch out for whenever you see someone bring one into play. Mystic Snake is incredible. Yes, it's a counterspell for 4, but if somebody starts flashing it with Deadeye Navigator, they can lock you out of the game. Cold Eye Selkie, I've seen win games all on its own, sword him up, and draw massive card. You may draw cards for each damage that he does. Edric has been banned in the French two-player version of EDH because he's just incredible. Really warps the meta in that. Even in multiplayer, watch out when you see this guy hit the board. And Momor Vig's a little bit on the combo bait side. I like him a lot, but when he comes out, you better kill him right away, or you're going to watch people do some pretty incredible, wonderful, and degraded things. In the honorable mentions here, I've got 3 cards that are really nice cards, but they just didn't make it into the top 10. I would try building around these or adding these into your decks. Experiment Cragi really can add on a lot of cool abilities from your other creatures. I know that he can be combo bait from time to time, but he's a very solid creature there. Biomancer Mastery often ends up drawing huge amounts of cards in EDH. I wouldn't recommend it in a competitive deck because it's a little high on the casting cost, but in a casual game, I've seen this card draw 15 or even 20 cards. Fathom Mage, I really like a lot. Very fragile for a forecaster, but I've seen this card draw lots and lots of cards. It really goes to the +1/+1 draw card theme, which is really kind of the heart of Simic, doing cool things with creatures and drawing lots of cards from blue to keep things going. The number 10 spot here, I've got Overbeing of Myth. 5-caster, a little bit tough to get out. It has 2 of my favorite aspects, and it really blends the feelings of blue and green together to represent Simic. It has power and toughness equal to cards in hand. I remember winning a lot of tournament games with Maro long ago. And it has a card draw aspect to it that gives you extra cards, so it really feels blue in the card draw. Love this guy. Very solid inclusion in a casual EDH deck. Number 9 spot here, I've got one that should be in every EDH deck that has blue and green, and I very rarely say that. I mean, if you want to build around him as a snake, elf, druid theme, that's great, but Coiling Oracle is ramp and it's extra card. It embodies green and blue. I have never been unhappy about drawing this guy in an EDH game, and often I can flicker him or return him from the graveyard and see incredible card advantage out of this little guy. I want this guy in my opening hand every time, whether it's competitive or casual. Number 8 spot here, I've got Plasma Capture. Oh, this takes one of my favorite cards and turns it into a staple in EDH. Mana Drain is the best counterspell ever printed. And I know some people love themselves Force of Will, but Mana Drain is even better. And this takes Mana Drain and allows you to drain for colored mana so that you can use that mana to cast anything. They've taken Mana Drain and Channel the Sun, pasted them together, allowing you to ramp, control, and counter all in one. Very nice card. I love that Wizards is actively designing cards for Commander. Plasma Capture is slightly playable in some standard decks, but just amazing in Commander. Great job, Wizards. Number 7 spot here, I've got one that's just purely entertaining. Unexpected results. Shuffle your deck up, flip a card, put it into play. If it's a land card, you get unexpected results back. Just incredible. Sometimes, worst case, it works as ramp. Other times, you are able to cast a card without paying its casting cost. Wow, I put Consecrated Sphinx on here when I really should have Maelstrom Wanderer on here. Could you imagine unexpected resulting into a Maelstrom Wanderer? Oh, that would just be so incredible. Number 6 spot here, Trygon Predator. Every single pre-constructed EDH deck runs a Soul Ring. 98% of EDH decks run a Soul Ring. This guy stops swords, he stops ramp, just wonderful control, great political card. He's also a 2/3 flyer, so he can block creatures like Kalia. Throw a sword on him, and he's even better. I love Trygon Predator in Vintage. I love Trygon Predator in EDH. In the number 5 spot here, I've got Master Biomancer. This guy is just wonderful. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to Master Biomancer's power, and as a mutation in addition to its other types. This is a great way to get some +1/+1 counters on things. It makes your other creatures larger. When you use it with someone like Zegana, you're able to draw extra cards. When you use it with a guild mage here, you're able to draw a lot of extra cards. This guy, I really underestimated him until I played against him in 2 or 3 games. Very solid inclusion in a casual EDH deck, a little bit light on the competitive side. I've got Simic Charm here kind of as an honorable mention. If you're going to play in a competitive kind of EDH environment, definitely look at Simic Charm. The +3/+3 is okay. Permanence you control gain hexproof until end of turn is just amazing. And return target creature to its owner's hand. With a lot of these comes into play effects, Simic Charm in kind of a very fast environment can do a lot of work. Number 4 spot here, I've got Urban Evolution. It pastes kind of 2 of my favorite cards together. Ancestral Recall, the most overpowered blue card ever printed, and Explore, allowing you to play additional land. Yes, it has a 5 casting cost, but often in a blue-green deck, you're wanting to get up to 6, 7, 8 mana, and you may have spent your early turns ramping, so you want to refill your hand. Definitely check Urban Evolution out to do that. Number 3 spot here, I've got Prime Speaker Zegana, another newer card, clearly designed with Commander in mind, although slightly standard playable. Prime Speaker is just a wonderful commander. And I know you guys are probably looking at this list going, where are all the other commanders? There's some great commanders. I'm looking at doing a series for commanders for each color combination after I work through the top 10 cards. So you'll see more commanders in the future, but I couldn't wait for the commander-based list to come out to highlight Prime Speaker Zegana. I like that you have to have other creatures in play to make it valuable. Drop a Thrag Tusk on turn 4 or maybe turn 3. Drop a Prime Speaker Zegana the next turn, refill your hand. All of your ramp can now be utilized with those incredible spells. Also recommend checking out Crystal Shard here. Yes, it's not technically a Simic card, but it combos so well with all of these comes into play effects that you see out of some of the blue-green creatures. Progenitor Mimic. The only thing that would possibly make this guy better is making him a commander. He is incredible. I've seen him take over tables. 1 turns into 2, turns into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the game ends up over. Check this guy out. Very worth adding. He's also extremely reasonably priced right now. This is going to be a commander staple for years to come. The number 1 spot here, Prophet of Crewfix. It takes my 2 favorite enablers in my mono green EDH deck and puts them in blue-green and makes them better. Seaborn Muse is just broken good. Being able to untap every single turn, incredible. Yeva, Nature's Herald, being able to play creatures with flash is wonderful. Putting these into 1 card at the casting cost of Seaborn Muse makes this a staple in EDH forever. I would pick up foil copies of her right now for your decks because she is only going to climb up in price over time. Even the non-foil versions, which are super cheap right now, you should be grabbing these because they'll be a $10, $15 card at some point in the future because every Simic EDH deck is going to want one of these. Prophet of Crewfix is a wonderful card for EDH. Also, it tends to live. Most people don't have the type of direct damage or single targeted removal in EDH that you see in a standard environment. The 3 toughness is not that big of a deal. Thanks. This has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech looking at the top 10 Simic EDH cards. If you like this, please subscribe to the channel, like it, and give me comments over what type of videos you would like to see in the future. I'm planning out my shoot schedule for the next few months, and I would love to hear your comments. Thanks.